You'll own nothing and be happy. In the current world we live in, the phrase slowly feels more like reality than a hypothetical scenario. And the perfect example of this is the housing affordability crisis. In 1970, the average American home cost $24,000. Today, it's over $420,000. But that's not the problem. The problem is that while home prices went up 1,600%, wages only grew by 300%. Mathematically, the American dream didn't just get more expensive, it was engineered to become impossible. Today, we're breaking down the cold, hard math of why the majority of Gen Z faces a home ownership crisis that no previous generation has experienced, unless something radical changes. Welcome to the era of the permanent renter. Let's run the numbers. In 1985, the median home price was $75,000. The median household income? $23,600. That's a price-to-income ratio of 3.2 to 1, meaning the average home costs about 3 times what a family earns in a year. Fast forward to 2026. Median home price, $420,000. Median income for someone in their 20s, $48,000. That's a ratio of 8.75 to 1. The house costs nearly 9 times your annual income. But let's talk down payments. In 1985, saving 20%, that's $15,000, would take a median earner about 3 years if they saved aggressively. Today, a 20% down payment is $84,000. At $48,000 a year, even if you saved 25% of your pre-tax income, which almost nobody can, you're looking at 15 years. 15 years. And that's assuming you don't pay rent, don't buy food, don't have student loans, and never once treat yourself to coffee. But it gets worse. Interest rates in 2026 have stabilized at what the Fed calls a new normal of 6.5%. On a $336,000 loan, that's $420,000 minus your down payment, you aren't just paying for the house. Over 30 years, you're paying the bank an additional $510,000 in interest. You're essentially buying 2 houses and only getting to live in one. Meet Jessica. She's 29, lives in Denver, and works as a marketing coordinator, making $52,000 a year. She did everything right. State school to avoid debt, lived with roommates to save money, skipped vacations, drove a 12-year-old Honda. After 6 years of saving, she has $31,000 in the bank. Sounds impressive, right? Except that the median home in Denver is $565,000. Her down payment? Still $82,000 short. And while she's been saving, home prices in her city went up 18%. She's literally running on a treadmill that's speeding up. Jessica isn't lazy. She isn't financially irresponsible. She's mathematically trapped in a system that moves the goalposts faster than she can run. So who's buying all these homes if regular people can't afford them? Meet the new landlord class, Wall Street. You aren't just competing with other families anymore. You're competing with multi-billion-dollar algorithms. Invitation Homes, owned by Blackstone. Progress Residential, American Homes for Rent. These companies have bought over 574,000 single-family homes across America since 2008. In some markets, Phoenix, Atlanta, Charlotte, institutional investors now own 1 in 4 starter homes. And here's the kicker. They pay in cash. They waive inspections. They close in 7 days. You, with your FHA loan and your earnest offer letter, you never stood a chance. And once they buy, they don't sell. They rent. The average single-family rental owned by a corporation rents for $2,100 a month. That's $25,200 a year going into a BlackRock shareholder's pocket instead of building your equity. Let's do the math on what you're losing. Over 30 years, that $2,100 a month, if you'd been paying a mortgage instead, would have built you $336,000 in equity conservatively. But as a renter, you're paying $756,000 over those same 30 years, and you own nothing. Starter homes aren't being sold anymore. They're being deleted from the ownership market. Remember Jessica? She's been renting a one-bedroom apartment for $1,850 a month. Over the 6 years she's been saving, she's paid her landlord, a subsidiary of an investment firm, $133,200. That money is gone forever. If she'd been paying a mortgage instead, she'd have built $47,000 in equity by now. But here's the cruelest part. Her rent went up 6% this year. Her salary? 2.5%. Every year she falls further behind. Okay, let's say you beat the odds. You saved the down payment. You got the loan. Congratulations, you're a homeowner. Except, here's what nobody tells you. The mortgage is just the cover charge. Most people think the mortgage payment is the maximum they'll pay. Homeowners know it's actually the minimum. Let's break it down. Your $420,000 home has a mortgage payment of about $2,530 a month at 6.5% interest. But then, property taxes, $400 a month and rising every year. Homeowners insurance, $250 a month. But if you're in Florida, Texas, or California, try $600 a month. And that's if you can even get coverage. With 2026 climate-adjusted premiums rising 20% year over year, insurers are pulling out of entire zip codes. Maintenance and repairs. The rule of thumb is 1 to 2% of your home's value per year. That's $4,200 to $8,400 annually, or up to $700 a month. HOA fees in newer developments. $200 to $500 a month, and they can raise them whenever they want. Add it up. Your $2,530 mortgage just became a $4,000 plus monthly obligation. That's $48,000 a year. And if your water heater dies, your roof needs replacing, or your foundation cracks, add another $10,000 to $30,000 you don't have. Jessica ran these numbers. Even if she somehow scraped together that down payment tomorrow, her monthly costs would be $3,850. She brings home $3,200 a month after taxes and her 401k contribution. She can't even afford the house if someone gave her the down payment for free. Homeownership used to be the path to wealth. Now, for many people, it's a financial trap that leaves you one emergency away from foreclosure. So how did we get here? This didn't happen by accident. It was policy. In the 1980s, we stopped building affordable housing. Zoning laws locked up land. NIMBYism blocked construction. Between 2000 and 2020, the U.S. population grew by 50 million people. Know how many new homes we built? 15 million fewer than we needed. Then came 2008, the housing crash, millions of foreclosures. And instead of helping people stay in their homes, we let Wall Street buy them in bulk at auction. We created the investor class that's now pricing you out. And finally, the Fed. For 12 years, they kept interest rates at zero, pumping trillions into the economy. Asset prices exploded. Homes became investment vehicles instead of places to live. By the time they raised rates in 2022, it was too late. The damage was done. This isn't a housing market, it's a wealth extraction machine, and you're the product. So, is the dream dead? Not necessarily, but the rules have changed. If you want to beat the system and actually build wealth, you have to stop following 1980s advice. Here are 3 strategies that are actually working in 2026. Strategy 1. House hacking. Buy a duplex, triplex, or fourplex. Live in one unit, rent out the others. Your tenants cover your mortgage. The FHA even lets you do this with as little as 3.5% down. It's not glamorous, but it's the fastest way to own real estate without going broke. Strategy 2. Geographic Arbitrage. Move. I know, nobody wants to hear it, but a $420,000 house in Austin is $180,000 in Cleveland. Remote work made this possible. If you can stomach a Midwest winter, You can own a home in 3 years instead of 15. Strategy 3. Digital equity, REITs and fractional ownership. If you can't buy physical real estate, buy digital real estate. Real estate investment trusts let you own shares of commercial and residential properties. Platforms like Fundrise or Arrived let you invest in rental homes with as little as $100. You won't live in them, but you'll get the cash flow and appreciation. The old dream was a house with a white picket fence. The new dream is ownership, period. It might look different than what your parents had, but it's better than renting forever. Jessica? She made a choice. She found a duplex in a suburb 40 minutes outside Denver for $385,000. Not her dream location, but the numbers worked. She rents out the other unit for $1,400. Her actual housing cost after the rental income? $1,200 a month, less than her old apartment. In 5 years, her renters will have paid down $38,000 of her mortgage. And she owns something. It's not the penthouse downtown, but it's hers. That's the new playbook. Here's the reality. The system is rigged, but it's not unbeatable. Every generation had to rewrite the rules of wealth. Your grandparents bought homes for pennies after the Depression. Your parents bought in the 80s and 90s when rates were 18%, but prices were low. You? You have to be smarter, more strategic, and more willing to break the mold. The majority of your generation will rent forever if they follow the old playbook. But the 10% who win? They'll do it by playing a completely different game. If you're part of the generation trying to figure this out, hit the subscribe button. We're deep diving into the new rules of money, housing, and wealth building every single week. Be a part of change.